Happy November! I realized recently that it has been a very long time since we've done a klezmer tune. So yeah, let's take care of that today. We'll do a klezmer tune. In the past, we've done all fast klezmer tunes, the Freilachs, which if you're translating from fiddle speak, the Freilach is essentially the klezmer equivalent of a real fast and fiery. Today we'll do a Jhok, which is belongs in the group of time signature 3/8 horas. A hora is a circle dance, and it has kind of a lilting rhythm to it. It'll almost sound like a waltz without a beat too. It'll go 1, 3, 1, 3, 1, and it's a really fun feel to listen to and to play, and certainly to dance to. So, I would love to tell you the name of this tune, but like all the klezmer tunes I've taught before, I do not know the name of this. I've yet actually to learn a klezmer tune from a musician who knew the name of the tune. I'm almost beginning to doubt that these tunes even have names, but as that cannot possibly be true, if you out there watching happen to be the expert on klezmer tunes and their nomenclature and know the name of this tune, please, please, please put it in the comments below. Let me know. I would love to know the name of this so I can start telling people. But for the moment, all I can tell you is that it's in G minor. It's a 3/4 Jhok, and it's one of my favorites. Here's how it goes. 1, 3. And that's the tune. If you're just listening, thanks for stopping by, and I'll see you next month. And if you are learning, grab your instrument. Let's dive in. Okay, so here's the deal. Since it's been a little while since we've done a klezmer tune, let's just take 1 minute here and calibrate how you're about to listen to this thing and what you're about to listen for, so you can learn it as quickly and as accurately as possible. As you probably heard, listening, this tune, like many other klezmer tunes, has 3 parts, A, B, C, and it's played as such. I just played it single, A, B, C. You could just as easily play it double, A, B, B, C, C, depending on what dance you're playing for. That's playing it once through. If you want to play it twice through, you go back to the A section and cycle through. You could also transition into another tune, either another 3/8 hora, or you could even go into a faster Klezmer Freilach is the word I'm looking for, into a faster Freilach, which I do when I perform this. Each section is going to follow the very classic part 1, part 2, part 1 ending formula that we have done in dozens of past Tune of the Month videos. And as an extra bonus, the part 2 and the ending of every section is going to start with the same material. So with highly repetitive sections like that, it should be pretty easy to learn quickly. I'll also show you very quickly there are 2 main kinds of ornaments you're going to be hearing and using in this tune. And I'll show now so that way you can understand what you're hearing, because I'm going to teach us with all the ornaments in, rather than taking them out. This tune, they're extremely functional, the ornaments, so it's easier to just go ahead and learn it all together. Alright. So the first thing you're going to hear a lot of is the Klezmer Trill, right? Right, that kind of sound. Klezmer trills are always a half step. Put your fingers together. They will always start from the lower note And they will always start slowly and then accelerate as you go, thusly. All right, if you just do a fast trill, it can sound a little like it just kind of panicky and not good, and not stylistically appropriate. So yes, slow the trill down and then accelerate through it. That's how you'll start to get that more authentic sounding klezmer accent. Okay, the other major kind of ornament you're going to hear in this is the cleft, and we've done this in past Tune of the Month videos, so if you need a little more how-to, you can go back to our past klezmer tunes and find those. But basically what it is, it's imitating a break in the human voice. Sounds like this. Cleft. And how it works, if I'm playing my C sharp here, I'm then going to put my fourth finger down just lightly on the string to stop the vibration. That's the sound you're hearing, is the stopping of the string. And then the next note starts cleanly. Listen again, stop it, and clean. If you haven't done that before, it can be a little weird because you have to coordinate the end of this bow and then the start of the next. So it's worth pausing the video just for a minute here and trying a few of those so you can get the idea. But when you hear that sound, that voice break, which I can't sing very well, you know that's a cleft. All right, so we good so far? You've got the structure of the sections, you've got listening for the klezmer trill and the cleft, and let's dive in. This tune is in G minor, 2 flats. It does have a klezmer mode in it, which means there's going to be a step and a half in there somewhere. Listen for that. And the A section begins with a gigantic G minor arpeggio. Here's the A. That's the whole section. Did you hear those components that we were just talking about? The structure, some trills, some clefs, it's all in there. Let's break it down just a little bit. Part 1, I said, is gigantic G minor arpeggio, and what I'm basically doing is kind of leapfrogging my way through every inversion of G minor using the same rhythm. Look, I start on G, now I start on B flat, now on D with a slightly different rhythm. Here's my Klezmer Trill. And then down the scale, but there it is. There's that step and a half. That's the Klezmer mode, right? And in this tune, where it's appearing, you can probably see it right here on my fingerboard, it's between the very high second finger C sharp on the A string and the very low first finger back at the nut B flat. That's the step and a half for the whole tune. All right, so put together part 1, G minor arpeggio. Klezmer Trill and mode. Got it? If you need more practice, you can always rewind. Here comes part 2. Starts with a cleft. Actually, it starts with the same cleft that I just demonstrated a minute ago. Aha, and there's part 2. All right, so without the cleft, the melody just goes, all right, with that minor third. To add the cleft, you just tag it on the beginning. Down the scale and trill, up the scale, trill. And now this last little part gets you back to part 1. And that may sound super fancy and hard. It's not. I just play a G minor scale, and quite frankly, it's a little sloppy. Because the point of this is not to play every little note. The point is to get that falling, cascading sensation all the way back down to the open G to begin the start of the section again. So as long as you end that open G on time, it doesn't really matter what you play. All right, so let's put all of part 2 together. It starts with the cleft. scale. And back to part 1. Here comes the ending. It starts just like part 2 with a cleft. Now, instead of up the scale, we do the very idiomatic, quintessential klezmer ending. Yeah, that's it. It's just a G minor arpeggio. And I am doing kind of like a wiggle trill on that first note sometimes. And that's the whole A section. Wow, it goes fast when you think in those groups, doesn't it? Let's put the whole thing together, starting with the G minor arpeggio. And that's the whole A section. Alright, if you need to practice any bit of that more, go ahead and just rewind the video. You can play it as many times as you like. Great way to practice. For now, let's continue on to the B section. Now, to me the A section is pretty rhythmic, right? That's how I would describe it. And the B section, by contrast, is very like... I don't even have a word for it. I just have that gesture. It's like it's schmaltzy and it's legato and it's got kind of a raised eyebrow. So you get to totally change your character. Here's how it goes. Did you hear those things that we're working on this month, the klezmer ornaments and structure? Working on, I'm sure you heard the klezmer ending at the end. It's the same as the A section. And just like the A section, well, the whole thing may sound like a mouthful, it's actually very, very patterned. Not just in terms of the melody, but also the ornaments. In the A section, we had that stacked arpeggio. This B section is a sequence, which we've done before in 2 of the month videos, and hopefully you know from the rest of your musical life. If you don't, what a sequence is we take a little unit, little melodic unit, starting on a certain note, we play it, and then we take the same unit and start it on the next note up or down the scale, and we can continue up or down like that. Makes it really easy to organize your ear. Alright, so here's how this one works. I'm going to have a couple pickups getting up to the C. Right, that's where I start. And it's going to start with a cleft. And that's the unit. It's really just 3 repeated notes. And then down the scale. But with the ornaments, cleft. On the first one, trill. Start the same thing on a B flat. Now this is the part 2 when I start it on A. And it changes a little bit. Up the scale with a big lift. Alright, and then that's just a great big scale. And I'm back to the beginning, part 1. Here's the sequence. Cleft. B flat, cleft. Here's the ending on the A. And klezmer ending. It's almost obnoxiously easy when you look at it that way. Let's play the whole B section, cleft, trill. Cleft, trill, working down the sequence. And that's the whole B section. You may have also heard that to kind of add to the schmaltiness of this section, rather than just playing notes head on, I'm kind of sliding into some of them. Right? And that's not really like a specific ornament per se, I'm just kind of adding to the character. It's totally fine to do that. Because remember, klezmer music, the sound that we're trying to imitate is the clarinet, and the clarinets are trying to imitate the human voice. So how you might sing this, being a little schmaltzy, for lack of a better term. All right, so we have the A section, we have the B section, all that's left is the C section, my personal favorite. If the A section is rhythmic and the B section is schmaltzy, the C section to me is very dry. And I can never quite tell if I like it dry serious or dry with like a very tongue-in-cheek sense of humor. You can play around with both. Here's the section. So you probably heard it again, part one, part two, part one ending, and it's super, super patterned. This one is also a sequence. The difference is in the B section, the sequence was descending, moving down C, B flat, A. Here we're moving up. G, A, B flat. And that's part one. And you may have noticed I went into third position. Yes, I did. And if that's newer for you and you're going, oh no, hard stuff, I have great news for you. The reason I went into third is because it's way easier to play these ornaments and this pattern up here than it is to try and do it negotiating the open D string. And it's pretty simple to get there. Here's how I do it. Here's my G. Here I'm at A. Now in this B flat one, I'm already on my second finger. I'm going to slide that second finger right into third position. And if you don't totally know where that is, or even if you do, but you want to check that it's in tune, it's going to match your open D string that's right next to it. And how you'll know that it's in tune is you'll feel, without playing the open D string with your bow, you'll feel it and you can see it and hear it vibrate like crazy. That tells you you're in the right place. All right? And the reason I'm shifting there is because that trill is now between my strong, strong second and third fingers. All right, so let's put it together from the beginning of part one. Sequence. A. Here's B flat, shift. All right, that's part one. Now, part two, I'm going to work my way back down. Here's my strong trill. Yeah, so that's the part two. It's super fun. Don't be freaked out by the shifting. Again, it's all about how to get my strong fingers under the trill. So it starts with the trill on my D in third position. I'm now out of fingers. I need to move back to first position on my second finger, and that's a trill. Watch how I do that again. It's just down the scale. Trill, shift, trill. Again. Now from here, while I play this open G string, I'm shifting back to third. And again, it's centered on my second finger, D, and my hand position, you can see it here, is all half steps. I have all three fingers very close together. And now this last gesture is the big slide. I love this part. It's so great. Now, the technical goal here is to find the G note there with, I'm using my third finger, but it could be whatever finger you're strong to slide with. right? So that's technically how it should go. In practice, just like the falling gesture in the A section, it doesn't really matter where you land that, because it's not like the note is G. It wants that sighing slide, yeah, like a drama, you know, oh, kind of feel, right? As long as you hit that open G on time with the downbeat, you win the game. All right? And sometimes I even on purpose way overshoot it. Right? Whatever you hit, as long as you milk it, it can really work very well with the character of the tune. All right? So let's put that whole part 2 together, starting from your strong second finger trill in third position. Down the scale. Move back to third. Half, half, and slide. That's it. One more. Get back to third position. And we're back to beginning. Sequence. Starts with that down the scale trill. And now klezmer ending. Ta-da! That might have been a nice surprise at the end to be like, all right, I know this. It's the same klezmer ending as the A section and B section, just down an octave. And that's the whole C section. Ready to put it together? Get your shifting ready. 1, 3, 1, and that's the whole tune. All right, well done, you made it, and hopefully you're feeling a lot more fluent with the klezmer style trill and the clefs. This is a great tune to really practice the use of those ornaments. You get more time in the 3/8 horas to play around with that stuff than you do in the faster freilachs. So, you know, while the freilachs are really fun to play and they can be really accessible, even if this style of ornamentation is not naturally a part of your playing, where you really start to get good at it is playing tunes like this. So I highly encourage you to rewind, play this over and over sections with me, and then, you know, it's not a fast tune. You can go all the way back to the beginning of the video, play the whole tune through with me over and over and over so you get a real good idea of how to start moving this around. This is a tune that if you see it written down, it's not the most helpful thing in the world because it's really about how it sounds. I find that's true about most klezmer tunes. I still, to this day, don't find klezmer charts that helpful. I like the recordings. But if you are one of those people who like to see things written out, I do, as a special thing for subscribers to my email mailing list, I do send out my handwritten version of the sheet music for this tune. So if you are on my mailing list, you'll see that arriving in your inbox just shortly. And if you're not on the mailing list, you can go to my website, www.mariblack.com, and sign up there, and then you'll get all the future tunes of the month coming to you every month that I send out the email. And in the meantime, I hope you have loads of fun playing this tune, and whenever I bump into you somewhere out there on the road in this small, small world of fiddlers, I look forward to playing with you in person. And until then, or until next month, happy fiddling!